Hello everyone, Emily here again today. So hi, I'm kind of loving the sort of fairy vibes I'm having at the moment, so yeah, I hope you enjoy that too. But so I'm here to talk to you about, I'm always here to talk to you guys, but I wanted to chat a little bit about how age works with our system, and obviously, again, our system is just our system. We can't speak for all DID systems. You know, a lot of people might experience things in different ways, but the way we experience things is something that we can talk to you guys about. So something interesting somebody asked me was, as you grow up, as you age, do your alters age with you? And that's kind of a difficult question to answer, because how do you know what age you are unless you have a birth certificate or you've been told when your birthday is, how old you are, that sort of thing. Unless you're keeping a track and recording your birthday since the day you were born, it could be quite difficult to know how old you are. Because I mean, if I ask you, how old do you feel? Might not even match up to the age that you actually are. So this is why we found it particularly difficult to identify our alter's age. We can kind of make a rough guess, but obviously they don't have a physical age, so it's impossible to say exactly how old they are. That being said, alters, the alters that have been with me the longest, for example Lucy, they sort of change and grow as a person, and they can change quite drastically. Like, I think I've spoken in the past that Lucy used to be, I think, what they would call a persecutor. She used to be quite angry and aggressive, but now she's almost like a protector. She loves looking after the family here, yeah, she's developed and changed as a person. Now, I would say that that's growth and development. I don't know exactly if that's aging, but she sort of, I feel like she's aged as well. She used to be, you know, slightly more immature and self-centered, as everybody is when you're a teenager. And now she's less so. She sort of feels more similar to my age, so she sort of has changed with me. Some of my other alters that used to sort of identify as younger when I was younger now sort of identify similar age to mine. So I'm 26, and people like Felix and Pepper, similar age. Pepper's always younger than me, and Felix is sort of around my age, if not slightly younger, but their age has kind of changed with mine as well. So yeah, they kind of do grow up as far as I can tell, slightly, but of course if they're growing up with me, I don't notice it as much, because you don't notice yourself aging and changing. So it's very difficult to tell. However, there are those that have not aged at all, and I don't know if they will age. And those are my littles, so Peter and Ashley. I think the reason that they don't age is probably because they're littles, and it's sort of their role to stay young. It's sort of like an escape. It's like their purpose. I'm not 100% sure. Again, I haven't been in therapy for my system yet, so I couldn't really say, but I feel like littles are a bit different, and that they will stay the same age. Peter has not grown up and Ashley has not grown up. And also the only other person is Autumn. Autumn has always been around, I think, 40, 45 years oldish. Sometimes she sort of feels younger, but it's sort of similar to how when, you know, age is just a number when you're 40 or something. Sometimes if you meet a new romance or if you start something new and exciting, you'll feel the energy and the sort of lively spirit as if you were younger. So I think experiences, you know, are the same depending on how old you are, so you can be older or younger and still feel the same things, and still experience things as if you were just as young, if that makes any sort of sense. But I think she's still always been around 40 years old. Whether that will change as I grow up, so if I get to 40, I imagine she will then get older because her age has always been older than mine. And since I haven't reached 40 yet, she has not needed to get much older yet. So that's a little bit about the ages of my system. I think I've told everybody, you know, the ages of everyone. I don't know if I've done an introduction to everybody. I'll have to check that. Also, if anybody does want an introduction to my alters, you know, them coming on camera and telling you a little bit about themselves, I know some of them have already done that, but you know, they could redo it because it's been quite a little while now. Just whatever you want to see of me or my alters, just let me know in the comments, so that I know what you guys want to watch. Also, if you have any questions, that would also be great to have in the comments as well. Anyway, enough about that. The only other thing I kind of wanted to talk to you guys about in terms of age today is sort of ageism. So there's two ways that I feel it's kind of a thing. One of them is that in a lot of ways people disregard and don't listen to what teenagers have to say. And obviously I understand that at younger ages you're not as mentally developed or mentally mature, so you don't have the full range of understanding as maybe you would when you're older. However, I would also argue that some adults don't have a full range of understanding what things are like. And some teenagers can really bring new and interesting things to the table. I think that it's very quick and easy to think, oh, well, they're just young or they just don't understand. And yeah, so for an example, a lot of people say all these new teenagers saying that, you know, they're non-binary or transgender. And again, I don't know the full ins and outs. I'm not mixing with the kids or fucking whatever, but I would not necessarily brush off everybody's experience just because they're younger. Some of them might be exploring gender a bit more than perhaps they would in the past. But I don't think that's a bad thing. I think that exploring your gender and saying one day I identify as male and seeing how that feels in yourself, whether you identify with that, and then potentially, you know, changing that and going back to something else, I think that's fine, because I don't think it really hurts anybody. It's just my personal take. Please let's not get into a massive debate about this. But basically that's a topic that people often discredit what younger people have to say because they are younger. So I think that, you know, we should listen to what every age has to say, maybe take it with a pinch of salt, because again, they don't have the years of experience in living, but not to just completely disregard just because they're teens. Because if you think about it, going through school was heckin' hard, and they're going through that, so they can cope with that, they can cope with some other things as well. Anyway, sorry, this is becoming a little bit of a rant. They always end up being that way. The other age group is elderly people. I watched a music video, I think it was to a Eurovision song, I'll Follow You, Apollo, if anybody's interested. And like, it really hit me because in the music video you basically see some elderly people dancing. Nothing crazy about that, I know, but it kind of hit me that there's this divide between younger people and elderly people. And I think it's because of maybe our fear of getting old and, change. But I think that it's something that we could do with changing. The fact that we, I don't know, I'm not certain about a lot of this, but from what I feel and that is that we don't spend a lot of time with the elderly people. They're just normal people, just because they have aged more. I understand that health conditions worsen and your mental health declines and stuff, but I don't believe that that's any reason we could not take what somebody says as interesting, or it's sort of watching that music video with elderly people dancing and being in love, and that it sort of made me realise that we don't see a lot of elderly people in media, and if we do, it's usually remarked upon about how they look so young and how we have to always try and look young. Like there's not beauty in age, I just think that we should see more older people in media, because we're all gonna get old. It's ridiculous to think, that to other them, we put them in homes, or, try and get people to look after them for us so that we don't have to engage with elderly people as much. That's a very, very cynical side, and that's not always the case. It's not always true. But I definitely think that we should, as a culture, put more emphasis on elderly people. They've got amazing stories to tell. They've got many more years behind them that we have, so we could do with listening to them. Just something that really hit home, that we don't appreciate other people. But I mean, we don't appreciate any age other people. Basically, we could do with being a bit nicer in general, I think. What a random ramble this has been. Anyway, age, we could do with listening and trusting younger people and older people and everyone in between. But I think it'd be great to see more media representation of elderly people and how they're just people, and not just based on the merits of them acting or appearing younger than they are. And again, listening to younger people and what they have to say, and also the reflection on how my alters age. Some of them age with me, but some of them seem to stay the same age. For example, my littles, and Autumn, my oldest. So I hope that's been interesting. It's a bit of a shorter one today. But yeah, I really hope you enjoyed it. I hope it was slightly interesting. And thanks so much for watching, guys. Please give it a like, maybe, or put your comments down. That would also be great. But thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.